Have you ever felt like someone in your life was slowly draining your soul, but you couldn't quite put your finger on why? That constant manipulation, the gaslighting, the subtle cruelty. Today, I'm going to reveal the 5 evil traits that show a narcissist's true nature, because once you see them for what they are, you'll never fall into their trap again. Narcissists are experts at making manipulation look invisible, almost like a hidden art form. Unlike overt bullies or obvious manipulators, they rarely make their intentions blatant. Instead, they use subtle tactics that slowly erode your confidence and sense of reality. At first, you might think you're imagining things, feeling guilty for reacting, or questioning whether you're being too sensitive. This is exactly how they want it. They craft scenarios that make you second guess yourself, planting seeds of doubt so meticulously that by the time you realize what's happening, you feel trapped in a web of confusion. The most dangerous aspect of their manipulation is its disguise as normal behavior. A narcissist will use charm, flattery, or even concern to mask their controlling intentions. They'll say something like, "I'm just trying to help you," while carefully steering your decisions, opinions, or emotions in a direction that benefits them. Every word, gesture, and interaction is calculated to serve their agenda, and they are extraordinarily patient in executing it. What makes it even more insidious is that the manipulation is rarely overtly cruel at first. It starts with small, almost imperceptible shifts, subtle lies, half-truths, or carefully timed comments meant to create doubt in your mind. Over time, these small manipulations accumulate into a powerful psychological grip, making you question your own judgment, memory, and even your worth. Gaslighting is perhaps the most well-known tool in their arsenal of invisible manipulation. When a narcissist gaslights you, they make you doubt your perception of reality. They might deny things you clearly remember happening, twist facts, or accuse you of overreacting. They're experts at rewriting history to make you feel unstable, insecure, and dependent on their version of events. The more you rely on them to define what is real, the more control they gain. You start looking for approval, validation, and reassurance from the person who is actively undermining your confidence, and that's exactly the psychological trap they design. Another subtle technique is emotional manipulation through guilt or obligation. They will remind you of past favors, sacrifices, or moments where you owe them, often in ways that feel casual or even loving. But beneath the surface, it's a way to pressure you into compliance without appearing forceful. You might find yourself apologizing constantly, justifying your choices, or over-explaining your actions, not because you truly need to, but because the narcissist has conditioned you to respond. This way, recognizing invisible manipulation is the first step toward breaking free. Awareness allows you to see patterns where once there was confusion. When you begin to trust your own instincts over their subtle distortions, the power dynamic shifts. The narcissist loses control the moment you stop doubting yourself and start setting firm boundaries. Invisible manipulation thrives on your uncertainty. Once clarity replaces doubt, the web begins to unravel and the psychological hold weakens. The key is vigilance and self-trust. Understanding that their kindness, concern, or flattery can have hidden motives doesn't make you cynical, it makes you empowered. Once you recognize invisible manipulation, you can respond consciously instead of reacting unconsciously, and that awareness becomes your strongest defense against the subtle, insidious tactics of a narcissist. A narcissist's lack of empathy is one of the most chilling aspects of their personality, and it is often what leaves the deepest emotional scars on those who get close to them. Unlike most people, who instinctively feel the pain, joy, and needs of others, a narcissist experiences the world almost entirely through the lens of their own desires and fears. They may appear caring or concerned, but it is usually a performance designed to manipulate or control, rather than a genuine reflection of compassion. Their inability to truly empathize means that your feelings, your struggles, and your humanity are secondary to their wants. Every interaction is filtered through their self-interest, and your emotions are treated as tools, obstacles, or inconveniences. When you are in a relationship with a narcissist, you quickly learn that empathy isn't a given. They may dismiss your pain, ridicule your vulnerabilities, or turn your struggles into a way to elevate themselves. If you share something personal or painful, a narcissist will often respond with indifference, impatience, or even subtle mockery. They might say things that sound caring on the surface, but when you look closely, it is clear they are more interested in controlling the narrative than truly listening. The effect is disorienting and isolating. You begin to question whether your feelings are valid or whether you are overreacting, because the person closest to you cannot or will not meet you emotionally. One of the most dangerous manifestations of this lack of empathy is the way narcissists exploit your emotions. They may push you to feel guilt, shame, or obligation, using your natural human compassion against you. For example, if you try to assert boundaries or say no to their demands, they may accuse you of being selfish or uncaring, manipulating your conscience to regain control. They do not genuinely care whether your needs are met. What matters is maintaining power over your reactions. This creates a dynamic where you are constantly walking on eggshells, trying to appease someone who can never truly understand or respect your inner world. A narcissist's emotional coldness also makes reconciliation and healing difficult. Unlike someone capable of empathy, they rarely acknowledge the harm they've caused or take responsibility for their actions. They do not feel remorse in the way a normal person would. At best, they might perform it convincingly when it serves their interests. This lack of authentic emotional response leaves their victims in a state of perpetual uncertainty, wondering if things will ever change, if apologies are genuine, or if they are simply part of a manipulative pattern. Recognizing this trait is crucial for protecting yourself. Understanding that a narcissist's inability to empathize is not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of their pathology, is liberating. It allows you to stop seeking emotional reciprocity from someone incapable of providing it, and to redirect your energy towards self-care, boundaries, and relationships that are mutually supportive. Awareness of their lack of empathy is a turning point. Once you truly see that a narcissist cannot feel for you in a meaningful way, you no longer internalize their coldness or cruelty. Instead, you develop clarity, self-respect, and the ability to distance yourself from their toxic influence. You learn to protect your heart and emotions from someone who, no matter how charming or convincing, cannot meet you where you truly need to be met. A narcissist's obsession with control is one of the defining traits that exposes their true nature. Unlike healthy individuals who respect boundaries and understand that others have autonomy, narcissists feel an intense, almost compulsive need to dominate every aspect of their environment and the people within it. This is not about love, care, or guidance. It is about power, the constant, insatiable drive to dictate how others think, feel, and act. When you are involved with a narcissist, you quickly notice that nothing is ever truly your own. Your decisions, your emotions, even your successes become tools for their validation or objects to manipulate. Control manifests in many forms, often subtle at first. A narcissist may begin by offering advice that feels caring or logical, but over time it becomes a pattern of dictating your choices. They might criticize your decisions, steer you toward what they want, or make you feel guilty for asserting independence. Their obsession with control is rooted in insecurity. They fear losing relevance, admiration, or power over others. To maintain their superiority, they must constantly shape reality to align with their needs, and anyone who resists or challenges them becomes a threat. This creates a suffocating dynamic where your autonomy is steadily undermined, often before you even realize it. One of the most insidious aspects of their controlling behavior is emotional manipulation. A narcissist does not need to yell, argue, or overtly dominate to get their way. They simply twist your emotions to maintain control. They may use guilt, fear, or obligation, making you feel that every choice you make should serve them. They might say things like, "If you really cared, you would," or "I just can't trust you to make the right decision," subtly eroding your confidence. The effect is profound. You start second guessing your own judgment and begin to rely on them to validate every step you take. The control becomes psychological, embedding itself deeply into your sense of self. Isolation is another strategy narcissists use to maintain control. They may subtly distance you from friends, family, or support systems, knowing that a more independent you threatens their dominance. By limiting your perspective and resources, they ensure that you remain dependent on them for approval, emotional support, or even basic validation. This is not love. It is calculated preservation of power. Every move they make is designed to reinforce their control while keeping you off balance, insecure, and uncertain. Recognizing this obsession with control is vital for reclaiming your freedom. Once you see that their need to dominate is not about caring or concern, but about sustaining their power, you stop internalizing their actions as personal failures. You understand that their attempts to dictate your life are a reflection of their pathology, not your worth. Boundaries become your weapon against this control, and self-awareness becomes your shield. Empowerment begins the moment you refuse to participate in their manipulations. By asserting autonomy, protecting your decisions, and trusting your instincts, you gradually dismantle the psychological hold they have over you. Their obsession with control thrives only when you comply. Once you stop, the power shifts, and you reclaim the life, choices, and peace that they tried so hard to dominate. A narcissist's chronic lying and deception is a hallmark of their true nature, and it is one of the most insidious ways they maintain power over others. Unlike ordinary lies, which might be occasional or situational, a narcissist's deceit is deliberate, pervasive, and often meticulously calculated. It is not about telling an untruth for convenience. It is about controlling perception, manipulating reality, and undermining your confidence. Over time, their lies create confusion, doubt, and a sense of instability in those around them, making it easier for the narcissist to dominate emotionally and psychologically. From the very beginning, their lying can be subtle, almost charming. They may exaggerate accomplishments, fabricate stories of hardship, or embellish details to gain admiration and trust. At first, you might be impressed by their charisma or accomplishments, unaware that these narratives are carefully constructed illusions. But as time passes, patterns emerge. Discrepancies in their stories, contradictions in their accounts, or explanations that never quite add up. This is not accidental. It is a deliberate effort to shape your perception and maintain control. They want you to see them in a way that serves their agenda, not as they truly are. Gaslighting is a frequent companion to their deception. When you question their stories or point out inconsistencies, they twist reality, deny events, or make you feel like you are overreacting or imagining things. The purpose is to destabilize your sense of truth and reality. You begin to doubt your memory, your judgment, and even your sanity. This creates dependence on the narcissist to define what is real or correct, which gives them an almost unparalleled level of control over your mind and emotions. It is a slow, insidious form of psychological domination, and it works precisely because it is hidden in plain sight. Another layer of their deception is the manipulation of perception within social circles. A narcissist often spreads misinformation, half-truths, or selective narratives to friends, family, or colleagues. Their goal is to shape how others see you, how they see themselves, and how they see the narcissist. In this way, they isolate you emotionally and socially, creating an environment where they appear trustworthy, justified, and even admirable. The deception is comprehensive. It is not just about what they tell you, but how they influence everyone around you to reinforce their version of reality. Recognizing chronic lying and deception is essential for regaining power and clarity. When you understand that their stories, denials, and explanations are designed to manipulate rather than communicate, you stop internalizing their distortions. Awareness allows you to separate fact from fabrication and begin trusting your own perception again. Documentation, self-reflection, and seeking outside perspectives can help you maintain clarity when a narcissist attempts to rewrite reality. Breaking free from their lies requires confidence in your own truth and the courage to confront what is real, even when they insist otherwise. Once you stop participating in their web of deceit, once you rely on your own instincts, observations, and evidence, you reclaim authority over your life. Chronic lying is a tool for control, and when you refuse to be controlled, the power of deception diminishes, leaving the narcissist exposed for who they truly are. A narcissist's exploitative nature is one of the most revealing and dangerous aspects of their personality. At their core, narcissists view people not as individuals with intrinsic value, but as tools to serve their own desires, ambitions, or emotional needs. Your kindness, patience, talents, and love are not appreciated for what they are. They are observed, measured, and used to advance the narcissist's agenda. This exploitation is often subtle and gradual, making it easy to overlook until the damage has already been done. By the time you realize it, you may feel drained, used, and emotionally depleted, questioning why someone you trusted could treat you this way. A narcissist will take whatever they can get from you: attention, admiration, money, favors, or emotional energy, and give little, if anything, in return. They often manipulate your sense of duty, guilt, or compassion to ensure compliance. For example, they might say, "After everything I've done for you," or "You owe me this because I cared for you." These statements are designed to create obligation and compliance, not gratitude or mutual respect. In essence, your generosity becomes a weapon against you, a tool the narcissist wields to satisfy their insatiable need for control and superiority. Exploitation also shows up in the way narcissists disregard your boundaries and autonomy. They will push limits, test your reactions, and gradually expand the demands they place on you, all while presenting themselves as reasonable, loving, or justified. If you resist, they may respond with anger, manipulation, or emotional withdrawal, reinforcing the idea that compliance is the only way to maintain peace. Their lack of concern for your needs and well-being is glaring. They prioritize their gain over your comfort, health, or happiness. Over time, this relentless extraction of your energy and resources leaves you depleted and questioning your worth. In relationships, this exploitative behavior often masquerades as charm or charisma. Narcissists are skilled at identifying what you value most: your loyalty, creativity, ambition, or emotional support, and leveraging it for their benefit. They know exactly which buttons to press to get what they want without overt confrontation. At first, you may even feel special or needed because they appear to value you so highly. But that value is conditional and transactional. You are valuable only as long as you serve their needs. Once you stop, their interest fades and any pretense of affection or respect disappears, leaving behind the emptiness of their manipulation. Recognizing their exploitative nature is a turning point in reclaiming your life. When you understand that their actions are not about you personally, but about their agenda, you stop internalizing blame and guilt. You begin to see patterns of use, manipulation, and emotional theft for what they are. Awareness empowers you to set firm boundaries, limit their access to your resources, and protect your emotional energy. The key to breaking free is to stop participating in their system of exploitation. Refuse to give more than you can safely offer, trust your instincts, and seek relationships where mutual respect, empathy, and reciprocity exist. A narcissist thrives on compliance and the silent complicity of those they exploit. Once you reclaim your autonomy and refuse to be a tool, their power diminishes, revealing their true nature for all to see. Recognizing and reclaiming your power is the final, and perhaps the most crucial, step in breaking free from the grip of a narcissist. After witnessing manipulation, lack of empathy, obsessive control, chronic lying, and exploitative behavior, It can be easy to feel overwhelmed, defeated, or even hopeless. But understanding these traits isn't just about identifying toxicity, it's about reclaiming your life, your energy, and your sense of self. Awareness is the first spark of empowerment. Once you see the patterns clearly, you no longer need to question your feelings, doubt your instincts, or accept mistreatment as your fault. You begin to understand that the narcissist's actions are a reflection of their pathology, not a reflection of your worth. Reclaiming power starts with boundaries. Narcissists thrive in environments where boundaries are blurred, inconsistent, or non-existent. They feed on access, obedience, and your willingness to compromise your own needs for their benefit. Setting clear, firm boundaries, what you will and will not tolerate, is a declaration of self-respect. It communicates to the narcissist that their attempts to control, manipulate, or exploit you will no longer succeed. At first, enforcing boundaries may provoke resistance, anger, or guilt tripping from them. This is a normal reaction because they are confronting a shift in the dynamic that they have long relied on. Standing firm, however, gradually teaches them that their tactics no longer have power over you. Another essential aspect of reclaiming power is trusting yourself again. Narcissists often erode your confidence, leaving you unsure of your perceptions, decisions, and emotions. As a result, you may feel perpetually second guessing, or dependent on their approval. Rebuilding self-trust is a process. It involves listening to your instincts, affirming your choices, and validating your experiences without relying on external approval from the narcissist. Every time you act in alignment with your values rather than their demands, you strengthen your autonomy and weaken their control. Reclaiming power also involves detachment. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you stop caring about yourself or others. It means you stop investing your energy in someone who consistently disrespects and diminishes you. Narcissists feed on emotional reactions, so maintaining composure, clarity, and calm in their presence reduces their influence. When you respond from a place of awareness rather than impulse, you deny them the chaos they crave. Detachment allows you to see their tactics clearly, maintain your peace, and make decisions that prioritize your well-being. Finally, reclaiming power is about redirecting your life toward health, growth, and fulfillment. Surround yourself with relationships and environments that honor mutual respect, empathy, and authenticity. Focus on your goals, passions, and self-care. Each choice you make that values your needs over their manipulation chips away at their influence and reinforces your autonomy. The journey to reclaiming power is both liberating and transformative. Once you fully recognize the narcissist for who they are and reclaim your boundaries, instincts, and energy, you step into a space where their tactics no longer hold sway. You regain the life and freedom that was once compromised, and in that reclamation, you discover your strength, resilience, and unshakable self-worth. Empowerment is not just a response to narcissistic abuse. It is the ultimate antidote, and the moment you claim it, the narcissist's control over your life ends forever.